Randy, you have a good solution for that one?
Well, it's probably dry soils. The area in question, the soil has dried. The moisture in the soil is what gives the soil the strength. If you get certain areas of the house, like on the west side, that might get more afternoon sun, you might need to maintain your water control better in those areas.
So maybe run the sprinkler system longer,
right,
or else do those soaker hoses 18 inches away from the foundation and ring the house.
Right. Yeah, theoretically, your moisture content should be equal all the way around.
Okay.
It's very hard to do without a lot of work.
Try that, Peggy.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks for calling. Now, let's see if we can get back to those pictures we were talking about earlier. Oh, that doesn't look very good.
This was a house in Arlington, and there was what engineers call a 100-year flood. It came through and actually eroded all of the backyard and up underneath the foundation of this house.
Wow.
And it was condemned by the city because it was unlivable. Their bedroom was sticking 12 foot out into the open air, and the piers had collapsed out from under it.
My goodness. We got one more caller before we get to this picture. I think Greg's on the line. Greg, this is Chet Wilke, your real estate advisor. How can we help you today?
Hi. My house is located on a lot that grades from the front of the lot to the back of the lot, and about 10 to 15 feet beyond the rear foundation, it grades pretty severely in the hill. And it's a small house, but we're thinking of building on, a pretty substantial build on upwards. Now, we have the rear of our foundation, there's some shifting that goes on there, but we water, and usually that takes care, like, door sticking, things like that.
Right.
But the watering takes care of that.
So I guess your big question is, your house, small, the foundation was built to support that house, and now you're going to go up above the house with a more structure and more weight.
And I think the fact that it shifts makes me wonder if I needed to ask for some kind of expertise before I even begin the process.
Yeah, I definitely think you do, and I think Tom's got a pretty good idea of what you need to do. What do you think, Tom?
I think you need to contact a structural engineer in your area and get him to come look and evaluate. You're on a slope, so you're subject to a lot of lateral shifting. When you add this extra weight, what movement you have now is going to be amplified. And it may be that you need not only underpinning, but you may also need a retaining wall at that back to better control the slope.
But if I could, when asking an architect to come help me design the house, will he bring those services to me, or do I need to independently seek out the advice of a structural engineer?
I think you need to ask that architect to employ an engineer to do that part of the structure. The architect's very good at drawing it, but you need a structural engineer with geotechnical engineering support to determine what you best need to do.
Good advice. Thanks a lot. Appreciate your call. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the troubles of foundations. Right now, we're going to take a look at the hot weather out there. Be right back. Welcome back to your Real Estate Advisor. We're talking foundations today, and we've got Tom and Randy with us. Let's talk about the signs of trouble and look at some pictures right now, and Randy's going to explain a little bit. Randy, we've got one up on the screen right now.
Okay. This refers back to some of the questions that we've had. This shows where people have let this is the bottom of the perimeter beam here. This shows where, due to lack of maintenance, with no downspouts or gutter extensions, the dirt over time is eroded and washed away. This allows the bottom of the grade beam to lose all of its bearing on the soils underneath. In a given period of time, this will break and drop.
Let's see what Bill has to say about that. Bill, this is Chet Wilke, your real estate advisor. How can we help you guys today? I guess, go ahead.
Got a house out in the country. It's about 6-7 years old.
Okay.
It's developing water leaks in the copper pipes. Problem is where the pipes come up through the concrete and then up into the wall. About 2 feet up on one side, it developed little pinholes in it, caused a terrible mess. And about 3 weeks later, the other side did that. The house is on a water system out in the country. It has plastic pipes, so I don't think there's any grounding going on there. And appreciate any help you can give me.
So the water's in the wall, or is it coming up from the concrete slab?
It comes up through the concrete slab, up the wall to the shower.
You know, I saw a brand new home, $1 million home like that about 3 weeks ago. I walked in the front door and there was 2 inches of water throughout the whole house. We know what that's about, don't we, Tom?
Absolutely.
Yeah, what do you think?
Well, I think that he needs to get a plumber to go through and repair all of those lines, because apparently he'll need to test the line, do a pressure test on the plumbing lines, and find all leaks and repair them.
And let's hope there's no plumbing leaks in the foundation itself.
That is correct.
Yeah.
That's what we're scared of. Now, what would be causing this?
Well, the movement of the soil, I guess, in the foundation,
Right.
huh, Tom?
The soil shrinking during the summer and pulling away, and that causes a lot of leaks in foundations.
This house sits on a kind of a side hill, not much of a slope, but it's got a sprinkler system.
Uh-huh.
And it's been sprinkled, ever since the start of the year, so it's been relatively wet, so to speak.
Well, I'll tell you, get a plumber to check those lines out and make sure that you don't have a problem in the slab. If you do have a problem in the slab, your homeowner's insurance policy will cover some of that for you, but you'll have to get some kind of a structural engineer report on it too. Appreciate your call. Thanks for calling. Okay, can we back to the pictures, Randy? You brought a few more problems with you, didn't you?
Yes, sir. This is, contrary to a lot of popular belief, this is a tree root with a quarter sitting on top, about 2 foot from the perimeter beam on the house.
My goodness.
We did clean, I had a crew clean off the tree root, and we spray painted it fluorescent for clarity. But you can see the tree root almost grows directly horizontal, about 6 inches under the perimeter beam. If you can see right here where the actual crack in the perimeter beam is starting to happen from the actual tree root in there.
Really interesting. Wow, that's a huge root system.
Oh, yeah, gigantic. And that's one of the smaller ones.
Well, we're going to have a little bit more about these problems when we come back in a little bit. Be right back. Welcome back to your Real Estate Advisor. I'm Chet Wilke. I think we've got a caller on the air from Dallas. Keith, are you with us today?
Yes, I am.
How can we help you a little bit?
Well, I've got a zero lot line home,
and
the side that is shared with my neighbor, where they own the land, they have done some landscaping, and they put in a patio system with bricks, and they ran it right up to the edge of the foundation, still below the foundation line. And I'm just worried about whether is that going to hold in the moisture enough to keep that side damp enough. And I'm also thinking about doing some landscaping on my side of the foundation, the one where my yard runs into. And if that is the case, I was thinking about doing something like that, running some bricking right up to the foundation, maybe out a couple feet. Again, if that helps hold in the moisture. But I've never heard a professional opinion on that.
Randy, what do you think? He's on zero lot line. You know that they build a house right on the property line.
Absolutely. Normally, when you put in the pavers or a patio type system, if you'll put a poly down beforehand, it will, with that covering over it, it will prevent a lot of the evaporation from occurring that happens in the normal part of the yard. You have to be careful that you don't get an area that will pond or cause water to pond and interrupting the drainage that you had. That's your biggest concern right there.
So Keith, it sounds like you need to have a chat with your neighbor and make sure he helps you out a little bit with that.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, before we go, I want to ask you guys about some tips on how they can save some money and how do you find a good, foundation guy.
Well, I think the best thing is the Foundation Repair Association has some pretty good standards. They have to belong to the Better Business Bureau. They have to have 5 years in service. They have to have workman's comp insurance to cover when they're working at your house. And that's probably one of the first places that I would start.
Very good. Well, when we come back, no, we're not coming back, are we? Well, that's about it for our show today. I want you to watch how you choose the plant, how you plant your new tree next to your house next time. And if your doors stick and your mortar joints start to crack, try watering a little bit more frequently. Unfortunately, foundation repair is a reality in Texas. Heads up during the hot weather. Need to check on it all the time. For more information about this show and our guests or any of our past shows, or to search the MLS, log on to TXCN.com and click on Your Real Estate Advisor. Our site will be invaluable to you regarding real estate in Texas. And don't forget to email us your questions right from the webpage. Independent brokerage firms have been around a long time. But what's the advantage with dealing with a small business? Should you use a boutique broker or a giant franchise firm? Next week, we'll answer those questions and a lot about what-ifs about the future of real estate offices. We'll share with you how things are changing. Join us next week to discover the hidden truths about local brokerage firms. Now, I appreciate you guys showing up and being with us today.
Yes.
And our many thanks to all of you and your emails. And if we didn't get to yours, we'll try again next week. This is Chet Wilke, your real estate advisor. Remember, I'm just a click away. Have a great week.